What's up, cinephiles? What's occurring? I'll tell you what's occurring. This YouTube channel, and it behooves you to subscribe to it and leave a suitably nuanced comment. If you don't, well, you know, some might say that people will think the less of you. I'm not saying that's necessarily true, but you don't want to risk it. Breaking up with the more prominent partner in a showbiz double act is a hazardous business. Larry David did it, but so did Andrew Ridgeley. The witty and heartbreakingly sad chamber piece Blue Moon from screenwriter Robert Kaplow and director Richard Linklater tells the all but unbearable story of Broadway lyricist Lorenz Hart just after his split from composer Richard Rodgers in the early 1940s. Hart is played with campy brilliance, an unspeakable comb-over, and fake smallness by Ethan Hawke, who's often digitally reduced, but also sometimes apparently standing in an off-camera hole to look up poignantly at taller characters, facing Hart's vertical challenge as Jose Ferrer once played the diminutive Toulouse-Lautrec.
Hart and his partner Richard Rodgers created a string of hits.
I want 10 copies of that.
Write me a check.
Such as My Funny Valentine, The Lady is a Tramp, and Blue Moon.
Your work is brilliant. That's not the problem.
No, I'm not drinking with you, Larry. They should put my picture on that bottle. The whiskey that made Lorenz Hart unemployable. You'd be dreaming about new Rodgers and Hart, something people haven't seen before, something big.
We have to work like professionals, Larry. It's a business. That's all.
Elizabeth, I adore this girl.
You're going to introduce me to Richard Rodgers, right?
She's a girl. See, I always thought that your interests went more towards...
My interests? So now you are going to analyze me? Thank you, Dr. Bacardi.
Blue moon, you saw me standing alone,
Wise guy.
without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own.
Ethan Hawke gets big, world-weary laughs with Hart's riffs on the hidden gayness of the movie Casablanca and also the cheesily upbeat musical he's been to see with all its lasso-twirling cowboys. He acidly calls it Oklahoma. The sexual identity of Hart is complex. This film effectively triangulates his gayness with the straight persona invented for him in the 1948 musical Words and Music with Mickey Rooney playing Hart, and cleverly extrapolates a kind of bisexuality from Hart's letters to his protégé, the young Yale student and would-be stage designer Elizabeth Wheeland, played here with heedless girlishness by Margaret Qualley. As part of the legendary Broadway songwriting team with Rodgers, Lorenz Hart was responsible for matchless numbers like The Lady is a Tramp, Manhattan, My Funny Valentine, and of course, Blue Moon. But exasperated with Hart's drinking, his unreliability and depressive outbursts, Rodgers broke with him and partnered instead with Oscar Hammerstein to write Oklahoma and then a raft of stage and screen smashes. The movie imagines the deeply depressed Hart in Oklahoma's first night New York audience in 1943, looking on with envious despair as the show proceeds, despising its bland sentimentality, hating the exclamation mark at the end of the title, but heart-sinkingly aware of how lethally effective it is. He knows a hit when he sees one, and feels himself descending into failure. Even before the interval, Hart miserably ducks out and heads to the bar at Sardi's, where the film entirely takes place, and waits for the inevitably triumphant Oklahoma company to show up for their after-party. And he knows it is his showbiz duty to congratulate Rodgers, to pretend everything is all right. With suave restraint, Andrew Scott plays Rodgers, clearly embarrassed at what they both know is Hart's humiliation. He offers a sop to his pride in the form of a short-term gig writing new numbers for their existing show, A Connecticut Yankee. And this, sadly, only makes it worse. Bobby Cannavale plays the barman who, in traditional style, listens sympathetically to Hart's arias of vinegary despair. Patrick Kennedy plays the writer E.B. White, to whom Hart accidentally gives the idea for his children's book, Stuart Little. And Margaret Qualley plays Margaret Wheeland, the unattainably beautiful Yale student with whom the film imagines Hart to be complicatedly and self-harmingly in love. Hart has already been jilted by Rodgers. Surely the universe can't be so cruel as to get him jilted by Elizabeth as well. But Margaret Qualley portrays a ruthless young woman who wants Hart to be the giggly, sexually unthreatening intimate to whom she can confide her adventures with boys, as well, of course, to be the Broadway power broker who can further her career. Hawke shows that Hart partly takes voyeuristic pleasure in hearing about these boys, but he's also genuinely, tragically besotted with Margaret. And the movie tells us about something rarely touched on in films about the world of musical theatre or the movies or show business, the terrible overlap between professional and romantic failure. Yet at some level, Hart is defiantly aware that what he has achieved will survive. It's a terrific performance from Hawke. This could in fact be a stage musical, but who would write the songs? And that's it. Please give this vlog a like and a share. Please subscribe and leave a comment. Please also subscribe to The Guardian. And please buy my book, a collection of short fiction entitled The Body in the Mobile Library and Other Stories. Details given below. See you next time.